Hi, everybody, and thanks for joining me, Dr. Ben Shamoiel, the LA Chiropractor. First off, I want to thank you for choosing our office, and I hope our staff and I really serve you well. Our commitment here is to really make an impact on your life, whether it's to restore health or get you out of pain. This little video here is really important for you to understand what the process of your care plan is here in our office. We used to do this in the office, but now we know that nowadays everybody is busy, and we want to make sure that you get to see these videos. And it's hard to take time to come to our office. We used to have a dinner, we used to have lunches, very challenging with your busy schedule. So thanks for joining me. Over the next few minutes together and a few series of this video, new patient orientation, what we're going to do is have a clear, defined understanding of what we're doing in the office for you and what we can do for your friends and your family. Two, we're going to talk about the difference of really being proactive with your health rather than being reactive with your health. Those are two really key aspects that you're going to understand. We're going to talk about spinal hygiene and how to really take care of yourself, and talk about why spinal hygiene is no less important than dental hygiene. And the last thing is I'm going to give you some tips on how to take care of yourself at home. Really interesting stuff. The top three things is making sure how you sleep. It's number one. Number two, we're going to talk about if you sit behind the computer or drive a lot, sitting is number two. And the third thing is just daily posture, especially with laptops and cell phones. So let's get started. Thanks for joining me on my new patient orientation. I want to give you a little history on myself and how I got into chiropractic. My mom had me at age 40, and she was a great lady, loved her. She passed in 2006. And one of the reasons that I really wanted to get into this field and look for a natural way to help people is when I was a teenager, I remember taking her to the hospital and taking her to her doctor's visits. And from about 10 to 18, I was her interpreter, and I kind of watched over her files, and I helped her go from doctor to doctor. What I noticed was really interesting. What I noticed was we never had definite answers. There was always blood being drawn and lab work being done. And this isn't this is in the late 80s, early 90s. And with all the technology, even back then, with the state-of-the-art hospitals, we still never had answers to what was happening. And it was really interesting. My mom had 5 kids, stay-at-home mom, and she took care of everything herself. She never had a housekeeper or anything like that, so she moved everything. And I started slowly seeing the Tylenol bottle, and it was a small bottle, and then became Tylenol extra strength. And next thing you know, we had those large containers of Tylenol extra strength. And then she was just plowing through, and I wasn't aware, it wasn't in my radar. But one of the things I noticed is no matter what she was doing, every time we went back, we couldn't get good answers. And I just knew there had to be a better way to restoring health, and I knew it wasn't putting drugs into the body, and I knew that at a very young age. Later on, I was looking for an art form and science that really backed up the best way of natural healing. Chiropractic is the number one form of natural healing, and that's what I looked into, and I was blown away. And in the years to come, over the last 25 years, I spent my whole entire life, my love, my passion, putting it into this work so I can help you and your friends and your loved ones really stay healthy and stay strong. So that's my story. That's how I became a chiropractor. Once I started seeing all the amazing results, even in the clinic when I was in school. I mean, it's one thing when people tell you about these, but it's another thing when you see them. And in my first few years in chiropractic, I was sold on how amazing this feel this. So let's talk about really what we do and how we're going to help you. One of the key principles or the key focuses, now this isn't my PowerPoint, these are just slides. I'm hoping to get to, where is it? Dun, dun, dun. I saw it, there I am. Acupuncture. One of the ways and really important factors in chiropractic, it's one of the main principles, is the body has a very natural ability to heal itself. We know that when we get a cut, it's not the Band-Aid or the Neosporin that heals us. It's our body's ability to repair, to put some scab in there and repair the tissue. So our body knows how to take exactly what we ate this morning and turn it into red blood cells. Our body has a great understanding of how to keep our heart pumping, exactly what enzymes are needed to digest the food, make sure you're breathing properly, and I can't tell you the trillions of reactions that take on in this body that's actually controlled by the brain. Now, the brain has to get these signals down, and it does it through the spinal cord and the spinal nerve system. We'll look at that chart in just a few minutes. So when the signals are clear and the signals sent down to your body, the body actually does what it's supposed to. It's very, very clear. And then the body itself, certain areas need to ask for information for the body, so they'll send information back up to the brain. And so we have this constant loop. We call this the safety pin cycle, and it's the safety pin principle. And so when the brain and the body have that clarity, we've heard it from so many of the speakers out there in health and wellness and natural healing, is a brain-body principle. Well, the brain-body principle really has a function through the central nervous system. Now, the central nervous system just happens to be housed inside your spinal column. So a lot of people think chiropractors just work with backs and back pain or orthopedic. Not really. We're actually working with my office. I'm working with the central nerve system. I want to make sure that this is clear so your body is at its optimum functional capacity. So what happens is during life as kids, if you have kids yourself, you had falls, if you have sports injuries, if you have those heavy backpacks that the kids, you see it nowadays, it starts to really affect our posture. I know my son fell at 2 off the ledge and dropped about 2 to 3 feet. That really caused a lot of issues. So luckily he's been under chiropractic, probably the best chiropractic ever. So it's helped his body restore. But when we have these areas of the spine that are out of alignment, they start to interfere. They start to interfere with the information, whether it's coming from the brain down to the body or from the body up to the brain. So my goal here is to always check the spine. In our office, we're always, number one thing we do for everybody is making sure that you have a clear nerve system. And we make sure by making sure the vertebrae that house your system are in their perfect alignment, one above the other, and they have motion and they have function. So the more stress we have on our spinal cord, I'm going to grab something right here. This is a piece of electric power line. And you can see there is copper wiring and some covering. And so imagine just like this, signals being sent down and then signals being sent up. But when there is pressure on this, again, due to a spine that's out of alignment, due to stress onto the nerve system, we are going to get some malfunction in the brain. Information of these signals going to the brain and going to the body. And when these signals malfunction, our body has a very poor ability to repair itself. That's why certain pains, they don't go away. Certain injuries, they never repair. Not because they can't, it's because the brain and the body are not communicating at their optimal level. That's our focus again, ladies and gentlemen. We want to make sure that our brain and our body are functioning at their optimal performance, making sure that that nerve system is clear. So we're going to be discussing more about this right over here in just a minute. I'm going to show you how that works. We're going to be talking about, again, spinal hygiene. We're going to be talking about proactive versus reactive, and then I'm going to give you some tips. So join me for the next video.